Hi, I'm Lee Harrison. Welcome to my channel, Frequency Mama. And today, um, this idea actually came yesterday when I was driving in the car. We were going to the doctor's appointment. My son was in the back seat. And it was one of those drives where I'm amazed that any inspiration came through, but it did. I actually recorded what was coming through at the moment, and 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 decided that I would make a video for you all. And the first thing that I kind of started with was because it was one of those days where I was just so frustrated. I was so frustrated all day. And it was one of those days where I was trying to reset, and it just kept going back to frustration. And I found myself getting into this kind of spiritual perfectionism, like, loop. It's a miserable loop to be in. You're actually kind of judging yourself on your progress as a soul, as an evolved being, and clearly, if you're getting frustrated or if you're having moments of feeling like a martyr, I must not be as evolved as I thought I was, and that's all ego too. So I was just in that space and thinking about awakening, and can be a little bit of a trap if we're not discerning about or open-minded about what awakening, like, what is it, like, that path, because there can be kind of like this idealized idea about what it is. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have like this, I'm gonna go to some retreat, or I'm gonna go camping in the woods under the stars, and I'm gonna have a God experience, and nothing will be the same after that, and I will be much lighter, and da 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 da. And I think there is truth in that, but there's also another side of the coin. And if part of your awakening is kind of being channeled through a dark night of the soul, like a really challenging postpartum period. Maybe you've gotten diagnosed with postpartum depression, or maybe a loved one of yours, your spouse has suffered a traumatic brain injury, and life is just, it's never going to be the same. It's something catastrophic has happened, and you're finding yourself in this dark night, and it feels like you are slopping through the mud with 3 left feet and a backpack full of shit bricks. And you're like, why? Like, this sucks. And it looks like the furthest thing from awakening or growing. You're not sitting on the mountain like oming and just being like transmitted with angels and whatever. I think it can leave us without a way to really contextualize and really honor the value of the incredible richness of these darker times. It is part of the awakening journey, or it can be. And it's an aspect of awakening that is going to run counter to what you're going to see on the internet, which is websites with really beautiful imagery, and everybody's looking really peaceful, and they're doing yoga, and or they've just come back from the desert having done psychedelics, and they had their God experience, and they're just, which is beautiful. It's great. But this place that you're in, if you're awakening through mothering, becoming a parent, you are awakening in the grit, and also this field of love, right? That has just expanded tenfold, but you're certainly in the grit, and it's the kind of grit that brings to the surface the shadow and the things that the parts of ourselves and the parts of our experience, the part of our nature that we've really sequestered for lots of different reasons. But it hasn't been really safe to allow them to have much space or room. So when we're in these periods of the dark night, it's almost like we're in a hall of mirrors and all these parts are coming up and we're surrounded by them, but there's like this distortion. We can't see them clearly because of our conditioning, and we can't see that the anger in the mirror that is looking like really scary and distorted has a place, and it needs its expression and it needs acknowledgement. So I think we cannot bypass the shadow in awakening. And, well, you can bypass the shadow. I did. I tried to. You can bypass it, and that'll be part of your journey. You can spiritual bypass. Anybody could do that, and that's fine. But yeah, the shadow work piece is I think it's a really integral part of remembering your wholeness. And I almost want to say, instead of shadow work, shadow love, like cultivating this practice of shadow love, bringing love to the darkest parts of ourselves, the parts of ourselves that we can't even imagine anybody could possibly love. This is the kind of reparenting that I think needs to happen for us internally. And that bringing shadow love to these places that we really haven't wanted to look at in a long time is reparenting. And it's not just reparenting, it's like a resouling, like soul, like S-O-U-L, like we're resouling. And it's not that we are disconnected from our soul, because we are our soul, but I think our perception of around it can shift and is mutable. And so we can sometimes perceive that we are disconnected from soul or spirit, or that we're not good, or not good enough. So bringing love to our shadow parts, I think, is this resouling as well, because your soul can hold it all. Your soul is vast, and your soul is God, source. You know, it's all one. When we are in really uncomfortable states like anxiety, hopelessness, judgment, when we're in a state of projecting onto other people, you know, it's our knee jerk and our conditioning would have us want to push it away, or judge ourselves for it, or judge somebody else for it. And I really think that this is the call of the wound, and the wound this is where the wound is a call sign for shadow love. Hey, there's a part inside that really needs to be met right now. So if we can just reframe our uncomfortable states of being with meaning that that's actually a call for us to listen. It's a call sign, and it's an opportunity to pause and to see if we can bring love back to ourselves. So this might be really hard for people. Can say, well, God, self-love is so easy on paper, but it's hard. And if you've had a lot of relational issues or traumas, especially early on, this piece around taking care of ourselves and of loving the self can seem really daunting. So you can simply start by acknowledging. Can you do an acknowledgement? Okay, maybe I can't fully show up in love for the part of me that's like judging myself nonstop. But can you at least acknowledge? Can you say, okay, all right, I see that there's a part there that's hurting, or there's a part there that's scared, and it's judging because that's how it thinks it's going to protect me or itself. So you can just simply start by acknowledging. And maybe that eventually turns into giving yourself an energetic pat on the back or an energetic hug. Maybe that starts to you start to feel feelings of care. And maybe down the road you start to actually feel it, like, oh wow, I really do feel compassion towards that part of myself, or part of my personality, part of my psyche, whatever. And I'm gonna just envelop that in a loving hug. I'm just gonna swaddle it in love. And I think that this is how we start to practice love, and we can learn it through our children too. They're just so close. They don't have that sense of separation yet, if they're young. And they're just the embodiment of the big love of consciousness. And it's infinite. So we can learn from them, and we can also learn, like, when it comes naturally, if we have those moments where we're just loving them and it just feels so natural, because maybe it doesn't always feel natural to you, and maybe you beat yourself up about that too, because you feel like this should feel natural and it doesn't, and it might not, because of a history that you've had. But I guarantee you there might be a moment somewhere in there where you're just in the moment and in the flow with your child, and you are in love with them. And if you can catch that moment and just acknowledge that it's there and it's happening and it's flowing, and you're feeling it, and really digest it, eat it up, let it sink in, let it educate your neurobiology, let it educate your cells and your bones and your cellular memory. Let it encode that this is what it feels like when I'm in flow with a being, and when I am in love with them, and that I am capable of that, and allow it to be a teacher. So we started out with awakening, dark night of the soul, and we ended up on love, right? So those were just some thoughts, though, I had about this topic of awakening, and really allowing a dark night of the soul to be part of your awakening. It's not either or, it's not a dual thing, it's a both and. You can have an amazing God experience, in the desert with the wolves howling in the background, and the sky is like just vibrating with love, and you get it. And this happened to me. Oh, I'm forever changed, and yes, that is with you, and again, that's one of those things that you're going to just digest and let it like just soak up into your system and feed you. And you also might be somebody who down the road is going to have a dark night. For me, it was postpartum depression. And you're going to wonder, oh my God, did I not learn anything? I can't believe I'm here again. And that's what we need to reframe. It's just part of it. And there's going to be so much gold and learning in there. So I think I'll leave it at that for now. Feel free to comment, like this video if you resonated with it in any way, and feel free to subscribe. I wish you a blessed day and lots of love and flow. Find those moments. All right, take good care.